Everything in this video can be found on a public domain in the full disclaimers down below. Hey, welcome to the Danger Zone. It's Ashley. So love and many blessings your way. Megan had just pushed Catherine McPhee away when she contacted Chrissy Teigen, knowing she needed somebody else in her corner in the area here in the States to step out and defend her when need be. Chrissy Teigen had I don't know if it was a stillbirth or miscarriage, I don't know, but she put it all out there for the world to see. That happened to have been the reason why Megan called Chrissy. She wanted to tell her, hey, look, I'm sorry, I went through it too. I feel your pain, I'm here for you. I personally never thought Megan had any sort of a miscarriage. It was as made up to me as the bench. And like I said, she had just ran off Catherine McPhee, who went and gave birth to a real child, and so she needed somebody new in her corner. She knew that Chrissy Teigen would be an excellent bullhorn to have, considering she lives on Twitter and puts all kinds of crazy out there. The only problem is this: she wasn't really banking on Chrissy Teigen ruining her whole compassion campaign. Chrissy Teigen's foul-mouthed and nasty, and she puts all sorts of just whatever plops out of her brain ends up in her fingertips on Twitter, like harassing Courtney Stodder. And if you don't know who Courtney is, at 15, her mother sold her out to, I believe his name is Doug Hutchinson. He's an actor, one of those C actors. He was in The Green Mile. Anyway, the mama allowed her daughter at 15 to be, hooking up with this 51-year-old actor. No matter what the girl does with her life today as an adult, the way I see it, she was a child. She was the responsibility of an adult that totally betrayed her and pimped her completely out, wrecking her life in so many ways. She was a misguided teenager. Her mother totally did her wrong, as did this Doug Hutchinson. And Chrissy Teigen decided to rip her to shreds and tell her to go ahead and off herself many times over. And nobody knows to this day why Chrissy Teigen did her that way. She did the same exact thing to Lindsay Lohan. And Lindsay Lohan comes from a very similar background as this Courtney Stodder. Both of these ladies, when they were children, when they were younger, they had nobody to look after them. They had no guidance. Chrissy Teigen decided to take it upon herself to let both of these females know that they were better off, not on this side of the earth. She was quite vicious to these women during their youth. Listen, I could talk for hours about Chrissy Teigen and how foul she truly is. She has said some quite rank-ass stuff over the years involving really little children. So I don't think Chrissy Teigen was banking on this stuff coming back and haunting her. But it has, as it should have. Chrissy went online the other day and decided she was going to put together this horrible apology to Courtney Stodder, who, by the way, she has blocked. Would never be able to see it one way or the other, just to satisfy everybody that was complaining about her being a bully. There was nothing genuine about that apology. It was so ridiculous. Now, this was taking place during the same time period that Global Citizen backslide was happening. And I guess she was feeling the pressure of people hating her because she reached out to Megan through Harry, their new BFFs and all. Old girl ended up getting markled. Megan's people actually contacted Chrissy Teigen and said, look, at this point in time, you going through everything you're going through, it wouldn't look good for me and my brand. We're trying to be compassionate over here. Sorry, maybe another time in the future, but not right now. Wrong or right, Megan should have been the friend to Chrissy that Chrissy was to her. Chrissy came out defending Megan, remember? But we all know Megan's track record, and Chrissy would have been markled regardless of this situation coming out or not. Hey y'all, by the way, Target did pull Chrissy Teigen's stuff off their shelves. Good for them. She needs her tail yanked off Twitter completely. While Megan was dating Trevor and things started getting serious several years later, they became engaged. Well, he wanted her to convert to his religion. He's Jewish. He wanted to have some sort of a Jewish ceremony for their wedding. So she did everything she was supposed to do, and she converted to Judaism. Now, right before her wedding to Harry, she got baptized at the Church of England. So obviously, none of these religions mean much to her because she can flip them on and off like nobody's business. However, there's been one quote-unquote religion that's been pretty consistent in her life for some years. Her dad caught her coming out of the Scientology building one day, years ago, and he said, hey, look, what are you doing here? This is not for you. This is dangerous. But she confessed to her dad it was her way of getting a leg up. She knew that's where she could hobnob with all the A-list celebrities. She's been all about this Scientology ever since being back in California. Scientologists believe that there's a galactic overlord named Xenu who was dealing with the overpopulation of Thetans, which is another word for humans, on his 76 planets for 20 million years. And this alien overlord Xenu, he placed all these Thetans, these humans, on Earth, and their mission is to find out a way to free themselves from the human body. There's so many levels to this, it's so creepy. Now, for newbies, they go through something called auditing. This is where people choose to return to their past trauma and relive this in order to clear themselves. And the state of clear allows the Thetan, the human, to become an operating human or Thetan. It brings them to a higher godlike figure. Now, these Scientologists are only introduced to the idea of Xenu, the alien, at a level OT3, which is an early stage, and then they're supposed to publicly deny his existence. Once they've completed all of those steps as newbies, then they have to go through their own personal lives, whether it's family or friends, and they have to decide whether or not they're negative influences. And if they are, they call them out, they confront them, and then they decide from that point whether or not they're what they're called suppressed persons. Now, according to the Church of Scientology, this suppressed person possesses a distinctive set of characteristics and mental attitudes that cause him or her to suppress other people in their vicinity. This is the person whose behavior is calculated to be disastrous. And once that person decides who is the suppressive person in their life or suppressive people in their life, they rid their lives of these people, and that's when they reach this level called clear. And clear is one of the major states practitioners strive to reach on their way up the bridge to total freedom. Now, this whole Scientology thing was created by L. Ron Hubbard, and for some reason a lot of A-list celebrities just love this Church of Scientology, but it's dangerous. People have gone missing, they've been killed, they've been stalked, hunted down by these Scientology members. Leah Remini is the first person that started cracking this wide open. She's a former Church of Scientology member. She's told so many inside secrets, I'm surprised she still has a pulse. For instance, they have auditions to be girlfriends, fiancés, or wives for certain men members. Tom Cruise was one of those men that had women come out and audition to be his girlfriend, members of the church. And according to Leah Remini, this actress by the nickname Naz, I've never heard of her. She was selected in the auditioning process to date Tom Cruise secretly for 3 months. She was dumped, not by Tom Cruise, but by the Scientology officials. Word got out that this actress, Naz, was super upset, and she confided in a fellow member of the Scientology church. That got back to whoever, and they put her on hard labor for like months. She had to clean public bathroom toilets with toothbrushes, dig ditches, pay fines. It's truly a dangerous place to be. I wouldn't step foot in the Church of Scientology for nothing. But Meghan has, and she has so far convinced Harry to do the same. And for a while now we've wondered, are Harry and Meghan together? Do they even live together? We never, hardly ever see them together. And here's what was shared with me. There's another portion to this Scientology called disconnection. Harry and Meghan have been in disconnection for quite some time. And here's what that means. A Scientologist can have trouble making spiritual progress in his auditing or training if he's connected to someone who's a suppressive or who is antagonistic to Scientology or its tenets. All spiritual advancement gained from Scientology may well be lost because one is continually invalidated by an antagonistic person who wants nothing more than to do harm to that person. In order to resolve this situation, one either quote-unquote handles the other person's antagonism with true data about Scientology and the church, or as a last resort, when all attempts to handle have failed, one simply disconnects, from or stops communicating with that person. Just like that mansion in Montecito they've claimed to have purchased. There was an article in the media several months ago that said you could rent Prince Harry's house by the hour through a particular rental agency. And when that agency was contacted about renting Prince Harry's house by the hour, what are the details? The reply that we received was quite strange. Yes, we do rent out by the hour this address. No, we do not rent out anything that belongs to Prince Harry. You see what I'm saying? In other words, they do manage that property, but they don't have anything tied to them. Then it started leaking out that Meghan was spending all her time at San Isidro Ranch with her mom for weeks on end. Harry was staying at the Soho house. They were apart. They were not physically together. And it was told to me this morning that it has everything to do with the disconnection phase of Scientology. They say Harry didn't want anything to do with Scientology in the beginning. He really opposed it. Meghan, being neck deep in the mess, thinking she's going to get a leg up through all of these weirdo celebrities she's surrounding herself with, threw a fit. And like my buddy said this morning, it seems like Harry's now giving in, and he's in the newbie stage. And looking at his behavior over these last several months, it does seem like he's gone through the auditing stage, the clear stage, the suppressor stage, trying to separate himself from what he deems the antagonistics, the suppressors, his family. Looking through all these different stages of Scientology, all of this starts to make sense. That's what he's involved in. Through her, of course. And you know what, y'all? I've been contacted by more than one person saying that he's headed towards a breakdown, and it seems to be the case. And he truly doesn't look healthy in the eyes. Not a bit. This is scary, and I don't think it'll end well at all. What are your thoughts and opinions? I sure didn't mean to be long-winded today, but I hope you're having a good one. I'll see you soon, and we'll talk fast. Y'all stay safe and be blessed.